Now, if you've been around on the channel for a little while, you've probably noticed that I've been posting a lot of shorts on some of the games in my 3DS collection. Now, in today's video, since I've been really enjoying playing the Nintendo 3DS library again, I decided I'll cover a video on just how amazing this console is, and if you guys have one sitting around and collecting dust, maybe pick it up and play it again. The 3DS has an amazing library of games to choose from. Not only is it from the Nintendo 3DS library, but also from the DS library. You can play a lot of phenomenal games on this incredible handheld. And as many of you probably know, if you've been around on the channel for a while, the Nintendo Game Boy Advance is my favorite handheld console of all time. But the 3DS is probably my second favorite handheld console of all time, behind the Game Boy Advance. And in this video, I'm going to be going over just how incredible this console is, and maybe encourage you guys to pick up a 3DS if you don't have one, or pick up your old one that's maybe sitting in storage collecting dust, or just you haven't played in a while. And that's all I'm going to be going over. I'm going to be going over a few of the different models that are available, because there is so many different models of the 3DS. So if you guys are looking to buy one in today's market, there's some cheap options and some very, very expensive options, which I'll be covering in today's video. So without further ado, let's get into the Nintendo 3DS and just how incredible it is. So as you guys can see here, I have three different consoles. So let's get into covering each different one and why I have three different consoles. Honestly, I don't need three different consoles, but I have them for different reasons. So this is my original old Nintendo 3DS in the aqua blue color. I ended up getting this back in 2011. It is a phenomenal handheld console. So it boots up, it still works great, the screens look great, I don't have too many scuffs or scratches on them, and it just still works. So here's one of my favorite games that I'll be covering later when I cover all the different games, but Tomodachi Life, absolutely incredible. But this is my first Nintendo 3DS. It is fairly old, but it still works just as good as any of the other ones. So that is my old Nintendo 3DS that I got. Actually, I got it back when they were most expensive in 2011. When they originally launched, they were like 260 bucks or something. It was absolutely absurd. It was overpriced for sure. And then Nintendo had a kind of horrible launch for this console, so they had to lower the prices. And I think they knocked off like $80 to $100. I can't remember what it was. They went from like 260 down to like 180 or 160. It was quite a substantial decrease in value, or decrease in price. So yeah, I ended up honestly getting hosed on this back in the day, but I still don't regret it. It is a phenomenal console. And even after the brutal launch of the 3DS, where they just didn't have very many games, like there was Pilot Wings and like Steel Diver and like a few other things, but they just didn't have anything at the start. But they really turned things around as they started to get more of the mainstream games, like some of the Mario games out there, the Pokemon games. Once they started coming out, like it just started to snowball and made a phenomenal system, because the game library is what makes a phenomenal system. So this is my Nintendo 3DS XL, my special edition Mario and Luigi Dream Team 30th, the year of Luigi, the 30th anniversary console. It is silver, has Mario and Luigi. Very, very cool. It's honestly in really, really good condition, because I don't really use it a whole lot. It is, for all intents and purposes, just a collection piece. Luigi's my favorite Mario brother, one of my favorite gaming characters for the Nintendo. So that's why I bought it. I just like that system because it's the Year of Luigi special edition one, and I absolutely love it. And it is more of a collector's piece than anything, hence why I still have the complete box. Box is in good shape, console's in mint condition. But I will show you guys the difference in size here. So I'll open up my old 3DS and my Nintendo 3DS XL. As you can see on the box, they're 90% larger screen. So that is definitely a significant difference. But personally, the reason why I have a old Nintendo 3DS, like I explained, is my very first one. But the reason why I have a new Nintendo 3DS, not a new Nintendo 3DS XL, is because I actually like the smaller size. I find it, the XL consoles, I found it with the DSi XL that I have and the Nintendo 3DS XL, they blow up the picture, and then the quality of your screens, like the quality of the picture of the games when you're playing, gets more pixelated on the bigger screens. They just didn't have the resolution quite yet, and they still, even though the DSi, I mean the DSi XL, when they came out with that, the screen was very pixelated playing games, DS games on that console. With this one, it was a little bit better, but they still didn't quite get it as smooth as they did with the Nintendo Switch eventually. But still, absolutely love that system. It's a collection piece in my gaming collection, so that's basically the only reason I have it. I don't really play on it a whole lot, and it is just a cool piece with a little bit of sentimental value to me. So, and lastly here, if you guys have been around for a little while, you'd know that I sold my Game Boy Color collection to buy this. This is a new Nintendo 3DS, new in quotations Nintendo 3DS console. It is actually the special edition Mario one, so it's got a face plates with a bunch of Mario characters on it, pretty cool. And it's also got a face plate on the bottom with a bunch of Mario characters. So with this console, the big differences is they added extra L and R buttons so you could play some different games that you wouldn't be able to play with the Nintendo 3DS or Nintendo 3DS XL or the Nintendo 2DS, because they only had your single L and R buttons right there. You didn't have all the ZL, ZR buttons. So this is my new Nintendo 3DS. The reason why I got it is to mod it out, which I did. And I have a bunch of games downloaded on it now. It came out with the C-Stick as well. Updated internals, faster processing power, and could play a little bit higher quality, higher demanding games. So that is the reason why I bought it. Basically just to mod it out and enjoy some more of the 3DS library, because the modding capabilities on the 3DS is quite substantial and very, very cool. The amount of capabilities, like the emulators I've been able to get on it, I will cover it in another video. I would like to do a video on my modded new Nintendo 3DS, but the modding capabilities on the 3DS is quite crazy compared to some of the other consoles out there. So that is the whole reason that I got that console. I absolutely love it. It's comfortable to hold. I like the size of it. The screens seem to have very, very good quality. Like I said, the extra large screens are great for bigger size screens, but I find the quality of the picture is not as good as the smaller consoles. So the other differences with it as well, I guess, C-Stick, and also the stylus is on the front instead of the side or the back. And then the game card slot is also on the front instead of the back of the other consoles. So that is my Nintendo 3DS console collection. It's not extensive at all by any means. I'm sure there are people with a lot more 3DSs than what I have, but this is my 3DS collection. Like I said, do I need all three? No, but I have all three for different purposes. Collection piece, original 3DS, modded out system. So that is the reason why I have all three, and I absolutely love the 3DS, hence why I have three consoles. So now I just want to cover a little bit of the other consoles that are available. I'll show you guys some eBay listings and just how expensive they are to give you guys a bit of an idea what the different price levels are, because they drastically differ depending on if you're going with an old Nintendo 3DS or a Nintendo 2DS, the non-clamshell style one, or if you're going with a special edition console, they get very, very pricey. And if you're going with a new Nintendo 3DS, they get pricey just for the sake of the updated internals, faster processing power, and ability to play a few different games that you cannot play on the older systems. So let's get into some of the different values that you guys will be looking for if you're just getting into the 3DS today. Starting with the Nintendo 2DS on eBay. These are just the listings for sale. On average, I was finding the original 2DS, not the new Nintendo 2DS XL, around $120 to $180-ish dollars, kind of depending on the condition, if it's complete in box or not, if it comes with a charger, if it comes with games. It all depends. That all can determine the price. But it seems like for the most part, a just non-special edition, bare bones 2DS is around that $120 mark. If you go up to a special edition, you're looking at a lot more money. If you got a few games or different things added on, you're looking at more money. And then I flipped here to the previously sold listings just to show you. So We have a few like special edition consoles, unopened ones. They're all a little bit more money as to be expected, but as you can see, a lot of the previously sold listings on eBay around that $120, of course, Canadian. But as you can see, the Nintendo 2DS isn't terrible. I mean, it still sucks in comparison to when they were new, because I think they're $100 new for a 2DS, but they are the most affordable Nintendo 2DS/3DS console. Now let's look at a few of the other different models, and you will see quite a substantial price difference. As you've probably seen in a lot of these listings already, the 2DS XL will run you about $350 to $400 Canadian, roughly. So it is, the new Nintendo 2DS is quite expensive just because of the updated internals, and it has the same processing power as a new Nintendo 3DS or new Nintendo 3DS XL. So now I changed gears to the Nintendo 3DS. I was mainly looking for the old 3DS like my Aqua Blue one, and they all seem to run around that same, kind of similar. If you don't have much going with it, then it seems to run around the same price as the 2DS. I would say slightly more, $150 kind of a thing to $200, depending on the condition and what's all included with the sale. But the old Nintendo 3DS is still one of the cheaper options if you're looking to get a 3DS. Today, it is slightly more, seems to be slightly more on average than the 2DS, but is still one of the cheaper options out of the whole different models that are available. Now let's get into the most expensive ones, the new Nintendo 3DS lineup, either the new Nintendo 3DSs or new Nintendo 3DS XLs. These will run you about $300 to $450 depending on the condition and what specific edition of new Nintendo 3DS it is. So as you can see here, very expensive, but these have the upgraded internals. They have more capabilities of playing some of the games that you can't play on the Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo 2DS, Nintendo 3DS XL. So for that reason, they are quite expensive. And of course, the modding capabilities. The 3DSs, all in all, are not very cheap. I mean, your cheapest option is the 2DS, but the new Nintendo 3DS and 3DS XL are definitely quite pricey. But here's a bit of an overview anyways for you guys to see the different price points of the different models of 3DS that are available. And if you guys are looking for one today, this gives you a bit of an idea of the different price ranges as they drastically change depending on the model that you decide to go with. All right, so now I want to cover the games for this, a little bit of the library and some of my favorite games for the Nintendo 3DS. I won't be covering any regular DS games. I'll just be covering the 3DS library, but there are so many good games from both the DS and the 3DS. But first, I just wanted to cover how convenient these little carrying cases are. I have two of them. I got this one for my new Nintendo 3DS. It also fits my 3DS XL too. It's nothing crazy, but it's really compact, easy to take along with trips and stuff. So I quite like that case, and it was cheap. It was only like 25 bucks on Amazon. And then I have my old tried and true DS/Game Boy Advance case. So this case has all my games in it, my Game Boy Advance games and my DS games and my 3DS games. And I just love this case. I've had this case for sure 20 years, if not longer, probably. So it's I got it back when the Game Boy Advance was out. So yeah, it's an old case, and still love it and still use it. So let's get into some of my favorite games in the Nintendo 3DS library. So now I'm going to talk about some of my favorite games. I'm just going to breeze through them, give a little brief overview why I love some of these games, and I have a few games that I feel like are never talked about or a little bit kind of hidden gems. So let's get into some of the more mainstream stuff. The 3DS had its fair share of Pokemon games and Mario games, of course. So let's start things off with Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. And I guess I'll also grab Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity. Both games absolutely incredible. I love the Mystery Dungeon series, so they're a bit of spin-offs. And I feel like they're both kind of not talked about very much. Now, Gates to Infinity, not my favorite Mystery Dungeon game, but I still really enjoyed it. Super Mystery Dungeon, though, really good Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game if you guys are enjoying that series or enjoy that series at all, or have played any of them. But if you've missed out on Super Mystery Dungeon, that's one I definitely highly recommend you guys pick up and try out. Then of course we got a lot of your mainstream Pokemon games. So we got Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, which were remakes of Ruby and Sapphire. And then we also have ourselves Pokemon Y, X and Y. They were both incredible games as well. And then Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. I'm not even going to mention, not even really going to talk about Sun and Moon, because Pokemon did exactly what they did with a lot of other Pokemon games in the series, where they release versions that seem like they're incomplete, and then they later, a year or two after, release the full-on added extra content, bonus content kind of versions. Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun being that way. It felt like Pokemon Sun and Moon were just definitely, they felt like they weren't bad games. They were very, very good games, but it just sucks how then shortly after they release Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, that add a whole pile of more content and extra things for you to do and extra Pokemon to capture. So it just always seems like they do that. They've done that with, well, I wouldn't even really call Emerald that way. I like Ruby and Sapphire better than I do Emerald, and they were different enough. Like, you had Steven was a far better champion than Wallace, so that's my little rant about that. But then Platinum could be a very, very good example to use in that scenario, because Diamond and Pearl, as much as I love those games, they just were definitely missing a lot of things. And a common, I think, theme or joke among people that they always say about Diamond and Pearl is the fact that there were like 2 fire type Pokemon. There was Rapidash, Ponytail, Rapidash, and then the Infernape line. I don't think there was any others. I think those were literally it. So you had a fire type Elite Four member that didn't even use hardly any fire types. So anyways, that's some of the Pokemon games. Absolutely incredible. Huge library of Pokemon games for the 3DS. Definitely up there compared to some of the other Nintendo consoles. And then, of course, lots of Mario games. Some of my favorites, Mario and Luigi series, Mario and Luigi Dream Team, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story was also re-released on it. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, they remade for the 3DS. Absolutely incredible. And then there was one new one. Dream Team was a new one that wasn't a re-release. But then there was also Paper Jam. That one I've never played though, but I did get it on my 3DS that I modded out. So that one I eventually want to play. Then I feel like this Mario Kart game is rarely ever talked about, but I feel like it's a very, very good one in the series. Mario Kart 7, incredible Mario Kart game. And that was kind of when they introduced the gliding mechanic and a few other mechanics in this game. So very cool. This Mario Kart 7 is when they introduced a lot of different mechanics that they carried on to Mario Kart 8. So then next, new Super Mario Bros. 2, incredible game. Love the new Super Mario Bros. Series. Absolutely incredible games. And then if you're into 3D Mario, then they got you covered with Super Mario 3D Land. Another phenomenal 3D Mario game, and it was on the 3DS. So absolutely a phenomenal game. And then let's get into a few of my, I feel like I have a very few, but I have a few games that I feel like are rarely ever talked about, and I'm just going to cover them really, really quick. So we got Dragon Ball Fusions, one of my favorite 3DS games. I feel like it's never mentioned, or just maybe not known, or maybe nobody liked it except for me. I don't know, but I absolutely love that game. Incredible game, tactical RPG, and you get to create your own character, your own Dragon Ball character that you get to play through, and then there's so many different fusions. It's gets to be a certain point where you're trying to make fusions kind of like how you're collecting Pokemon in Pokemon games. You're like collecting different Dragon Ball character fusions. So very, very cool game. Absolutely love that one. And then another game that I feel like is rarely ever talked about, and maybe it's just because Metroid doesn't seem to be like Nintendo's most popular game series, but Metroid Samus Returns, the Metroid 2 Return of Samus remake, absolutely incredible on the 3DS. Phenomenal game, and I feel like nobody ever talks about it, so I just wanted to throw that in there as well. And I guess there's one game that I forgot to mention, but I also really, really like. I wouldn't say this one slept on. Lots of people seem to know it and love it. Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds, absolutely incredible Zelda game, and I absolutely love it. I need to replay it at some point because it is a phenomenal game. So those are just a few of my favorite games. There are so many games. If you're into Animal Crossing, there's Animal Crossing. If you're into some Mario sports games, there's a fair share of Mario sports games. There's some Sonic games that were released, Sonic and the Lost World. Sonic Generations also had a 3DS release as well. So there is so much on the 3DS for everyone to enjoy. And I absolutely love the Nintendo 3DS. It is one of my, like I said, my second favorite handheld console of all time. I can't believe I forgot one of my favorite 3DS games. This one I feel like is also a hidden gem or a game that's like never talked about. Tomodachi Life. I want to do a video on this game at some point because it is one of my favorite 3DS games and probably like my favorite life simulation type game. It is just such a honestly funny game, and you use a bunch of Miis. You create a bunch of Miis for your island, and then they all like mingle. They can have kids, they can get married, they can break up. It's honestly such a funny like life sim type of game, and I absolutely love it. Honestly, one of the best games on the 3DS, and I would love it if Nintendo would make a Tomodachi Life 2 for the Nintendo Switch 2, or just re-release this one. I would totally welcome that. So I forgot this game, had to cover it, and now I will get to closing out the video. Well, now that I've officially covered everything to do with the 3DS that I wanted to cover in this video, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys have a 3DS, or if you don't have one but you want one, let me know down in the comments below. And let me know which 3DSs you guys have, and if you really enjoyed the 3DS or if you didn't. And if you didn't enjoy it, then let me know why, because I feel like the 3DS is one of the most loved Nintendo handhelds out there. So I just absolutely love the system. Hence why I have 3 different ones. I basically have my 3DS XL just for the case of having a collector's item. That one I'm just going to keep as a bit of a collectible. I don't really play my Nintendo 3DS XL, my Mario and Luigi Dream Team one, my Year of Luigi Silver one. I don't really play that much. If I am playing games, it's usually on my old 3DS or my new Nintendo 3DS as well. So I absolutely love the systems. They are incredible. And the only ones that are really missing from my collection, I guess, would be the Nintendo 2DSs. Either the old 2DS that didn't have the clamshell design, or a 2DS XL. But I don't really need a new Nintendo 2DS XL. I'm probably just going to stop it here with my 3DSs. I don't need more than 3. I don't even really need 3, but I absolutely love this system. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. And if you did, leave a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next one.